Good evening to
Yes.
my brother, Mr.
Yes, brother.
Maverick Sabre.
What's going on? You alright?
Oh, good. How are you?
Good, can't complain, can't complain.
You no longer feel Mitchell, you know.
Exactly, I'm so glad you said that now. I was talking to someone the other day about, we were having a conversation of who we've been mistaken for. And I was saying how I got mistaken by a family in Finsbury Park, Nando's, a couple of years ago. This was when I was bulky, like, for Wayne Rooney's younger brother, who's I think a football player as well for MLS or something like that. And that was the high point of my life, as you can imagine.
You know what's funny? Because I was like, yo, you need to give me tips. Remember I sent you a message, I was like, yo, what did you do? Like, a lot of water.
Yeah, I swear to God, I cut out meat. Cut out meat for 2 years. Well, I'd started 2 years ago. I'm cut it out for life now. But tried to start doing more exercise. I wasn't really doing that much exercise. I was eating a lot of rubbishy food for a while. So I just cut out meat. That was what, the weight dropped off me from there. And then just started to focus on what I was putting into my body a bit more. Still drink, but the food side is balancing it out,
Now let's talk about this album.
Mm.
So it's my album of the year.
Oh, nice one. Thank you very much.
And there's so many songs that we can go through. There's a couple I want to talk about.
Right.
Don't Forget Touch Me.
Right. Okay.
Well, what's the backstory between?
I think Don't Forget kind of is self-explanatory when you listen to the tune. I always try and write as honestly and as vulnerable as I can, because I think people really connect when an artist writes about their lowest points, and their most honest and the realest points in their life. Because everyone goes through similar situations, but a lot of people, especially men, don't like to be open and talk about it. It's a love story. It's about being deeply in love with someone, and not working out right, and feeling broken a bit about it. And that was my expression of it.
That's a chorus, good.
Don't forget me in the morning when you wake beside somebody else. Don't regret me. Now the lyrics have gone out my mind already, but yeah, don't forget me in the morning when you wake beside somebody else. And that was the sentiment of it, just to remember a good positive time, and reflect on a relationship in a positive way rather than a negative.
When you make that type of song, you're making it as a song, but how do you actually heal in the real sense of like?
Because you don't think about making it as a song when I'm writing it. I'm expressing myself. Sometimes I'm not the best at articulating my feelings in conversation all the time. But when I sit down and write, ever since I've been a kid, I've always found it's like I get tunnel vision, and everything becomes a lot easier to dissect and digest and kind of put into a straight way of thinking, and a straight way of expressing how I feel. That's how it comes together.
When I was listening to it as a mother,
yeah.
I was listening to that song. There was a lady with us who came to the show, and her mum had passed away.
Right.
And when you were singing the song, I said, wow, I feel for her, because it's a song like you're talking about your mum. But it's almost like, it felt like it was almost like a confession, like some things that your mum may not have been aware of, that you now again put into music. I mean, so again, how do you feel that comfort to be so open with yourself with those type of topics?
Because it heals me, it heals me. I can never ever put into words the effect music has had on my life, and always will and still has on my life. It's my best friend. It's something I wake up with every morning. I write every day. I listen to music from morning to night. I feel it completely. So for me, one, writing a tune like Mother, like Don't Forget, one, it's about, firstly, initially, it's about me expressing myself. And then after that, it's being able to write about your own situation that's very personal and unique to you, but being able to connect with other people's circumstances, Like, I've had a lot of people come up to me that their parents have passed, and, my mother hasn't passed. It's a song of reflection of, tough times that I was going through and within the family, and just a moment to say, like, if I never say it enough, I appreciate you. and people have taken that tune, Mother especially. I got stopped the other day and a guy said the same thing to me on Oxford Street about Mother. His mother had passed and it really touched him, you know. And so for people in different circumstances to be able to connect with that means the world to me even more so, you know. And that's how I try and write all my tunes. Personal, unique to me, but how do I extend this so that other people can feel connected to the same feeling and emotion behind it?
There's one song, I know you're going to do a breakdown in the future. There's one song I really need broken down.
Go on.
Come Fly Away.
Come Fly Away.
That's the song.
Yeah, Come Fly Away was written like... Come Fly Away probably had the least thought put into it from the record, as it came out the easiest on the record. It was at the end of a studio session that I was late for, so I had about an hour and a half left, and I told, I was with Fraser T. Smith, and he was playing some chords on the guitar, and I had this idea of a song in my mind, and what it felt like, you know, and the initial inspiration behind that was I loved the visuals and the song to Tupac Tug's Mansion, acoustic version with Nas on it. I loved that. And there was a feeling I always had from that tune that I really wanted to kind of bring into this. So when Fraser played the chords, I wrote it within an hour and vocaled it in 2 takes, and that's kind of that's the song. That's where it came from. And really, it was written in 2 different halves. The first half was very personal to me. There was a lot of things going on at the time in my personal life that I needed to escape from, and it was almost like I always find there's a battle internally. It is within everyone, but within me there's a bit of an angry young guy that's trying to find his way and has got a lot of growing to do, and then there's this older version of me that's very logical and very wise, and it's you know, it's always a constant discussion. So Come Fly Away, the first verse was the wiser side of me, telling me that there's something beyond how you're feeling right now and what you're going through. And then the second verse was a reflection of the world and how I felt like that internally about the world also, you know, and the injustice going on in so many different areas in the world and among so many different industries and just in society in general. And I felt like that sentiment of Come Fly Away is something we all need at some point.
So not to get to that, be repeating the choruses. Do you obviously remember the chorus?
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
Can you go over the chorus for us?
Come fly away, darling, we've been here. Come fly away, darling, I'm already making up the lyrics. Come fly away with me, we've been here for days starving. Wait, hold on, I've lost the lyrics again. You know I'm gonna have to sing it, hold on. Come fly away somewhere, we've been here for days wanting, when nothing has changed for you, and you're tired and you don't want to live like this. That's it. See, I can remember it if I sing it. I can't remember fuck all if I try and say it.
It's such a it reminded me of like Shooting the Stars, because I feel you're one of the few artists that we have that I'm aware of, and there probably is others, but I mean just me personally, who actually discuss social conditioning, social injustice, and I feel whenever people listen to your album, they actually are getting a full body of work in terms of like what's happening in 2015 today as opposed to what's the new sound. But when you're in the studio experience, does everyone know that that's the kind of music that you're going to be making, as opposed to like, we're looking for this top 10, this top 20 song?
Well, I don't really care what people look for, to be honest, in that sense, you know, oh, we need a top 10. That's not how I write. People know, and I think, you know, when you sit down with me and we're in a studio session, I'm not coming out with rubbish that doesn't mean anything. Whether it be, even if it's a love song, I'm going to make sure that you get, if I'm in love or if I'm broken heart, you're going to get the most honest description of how I feel with no barriers, you know. And that's my same take on how I view the world and how I speak on social issues and politics and you know, so yeah, I'm just brutally honest. So if you're in the studio with me, producers who walk with me know that that's, you know, that's how I write, that's how I express myself, and that's the kind of art you're gonna get from me.
You know, you said about that internal battle.
Yeah.
Let Me Go. That was on the first album.
Yeah.
Do you, I won't say accept, do you believe that this is just gonna be something that you're always gonna be facing until it's all said and done? Or do you see
what, an internal battle? I'd like not to think so, and I believe in the work that I've done myself up to this point, that I've grown a lot, and I've calmed a lot, and I've become a lot happier. So in the short space of time, because for a long while I was one of them people that I never thought had any problems, you know, with myself, everything's grand and da 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 da. And then when I stood back, and that's what, you know, the last 3 years have been so important for me. It wasn't until I stood back after doing Brixton Academy at the end of October 2012 that I had a little reflection on myself, and I realised that there was a lot of things I needed to sort out. I was, you know, depressed in certain places, and I always used to just kind of shy away from things, you know. Not shy away from it, but either start drinking, or I'd be on the road so you wouldn't think about it so much, and it was something that I really needed to kind of step back and reflect on, because I was affecting relationships around me because of that, because of not being 100% who I should be, you know. Yeah, that's why I took 3 years off, man.
So you're still, like, as you said, a work in progress. The depression part of things, I mean, I think depression has a stigma. The word makes it feel like, but I feel like everyone goes through peaks and dips.
Everyone, and I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem, where it's not being discussed enough. So we've got this really tainted view on, it's like someone said this to me a while back, you think physical health, right? And you think of athletes and Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi and, you know, the top fitness, you know. And then you think of mental health, and you just think crazy and people in an asylum, and that's automatically how you think of mental health. Rather, it should be taught as something that we all have weaknesses in and we can grow from, but it needs to be discussed, especially amongst young people and especially amongst young men. It seems like it's a taboo subject, yet we all have mental illness at certain points in our lives, because that's how we grow, that's what we are, you know, and some people deal with it in different ways, and some people get affected by different things in more extreme ways, but it's something that I think needs to be spoken about. And I've seen Kendrick Lamar speaking about it recently in a couple of interviews, and I thought, brilliant, you know, because for me, music should always reflect the time, right? And if it doesn't reflect the time, it should always reflect a people's emotion. You don't have to be screaming off about every political fact of the last 6 months, but it needs to be, something needs to have some substance in it, because how else do we grow? You know, what music should be there in place for us to learn and grow with, and I feel like it's not 100% representing that in mainstream music at the minute. So I would really like to see, you know, more young artists speaking about stuff that we actually go through, you know.
Yeah, I think I feel there's somewhat a collective failing to address how certain things are affecting us. It's like you go through it on your own. You don't know if you can speak out about it. People are going to put a stigma onto you, and I'll definitely give you the props for actually being one of the people who's continually always trying to do stuff for the youth. Because when we talk, you'll say, like, look, if it's for the kids or the young people, I'm there.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that all the time people actually give themselves like that to their communities.
Yeah, like, look, each to their own of how other people want to conduct their own careers, whatever like that. So I can only speak from what I want to do, and for me, it's a blessing and an honor to be in a position that I can even have an effect on anyone at all. So I would be almost spitting in the face of the blessing if I wasted it and did nothing to help people, you know, because I wouldn't be sat here today. I might not even be alive if music hadn't saved my life and certain people hadn't come through and really, you know, given me that support, you know.
You really feel music saved your life?
Saved my life, 100%. I wouldn't be anything I am, anything I think, anything I feel, I wouldn't be if I didn't have music. That's a fact, I'm telling you that.
One thing I remember for the first interview you did is you told me how much good music your dad played for you when you were growing up.
Oh yeah.
Run us through some of the songs your dad would play.
Well, my father was had always been in bands. Never anything full time. I always had a day job, but music was always around me from a kid. Like live music. If anyone's ever been into an Irish household, especially, like it's live music all the time, man. So it was him and his friends were always playing a lot of blues. It was heavy blues, man. A lot of Chuck Berry growing up when we were kids. But then it was funny the the mix we used to have was so strong blues, but then so strong traditional Irish music as well. And my mom and my dad were into, you know, soul and early rock and roll and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a lot of mixture of that in the household growing up, and a lot of that was live as well. So I was always around live music, man. And that was really a real big influence on me as a child.
Let's talk a little bit quickly, the music business. You know, we ask people lessons learned.
Yeah.
What kind of lessons do you feel you're learning or have learned in the past 18 months about the music business?
That it's a rapidly changing industry, that timelines and schedules and preparation has gone out the window. In my opinion, it's, in a positive way, it's brought it back to the control of the people, in a sense, where you can get a million hits and become a superstar literally within fucking five hours on YouTube, you know. And I think it's the people are depicting more of people's success more so now. You know, we're not reliant so much on people to do the work for us, because the world's so small within social media, within the internet, that a lot of things are being achieved. Videos are being shot for budgets that, you know, you can get a brilliant shot video for say 800 quid, where you would never get that before. So for a small amount of money you can have a song recorded in your bedroom and a high quality video for not that much, and you can do that yourself, you know. It's brought it back to the people a lot more. And I think you learn about yourself, I think, within the music industry more so, you know, and how to sharpen, you know. It sharpened me a lot, sharpened me as an individual, sharpened me of how I deal with people, and sharpened me in the sense of trust and really seeing through people, because I take music deeply seriously, you know. So for me to come in conflict and to be around people involved in music is taking the same care as I would if someone was to come into my house and be around my child. Do you see what I mean? So it sharpened my view on people, like.
Perception of success, what do you see that as?
Everyone's got their own success, you know. Everyone's got their own. My perception of success for me is, one, doing everything through happiness and through love, and getting to that point. And my opinion of success is affecting as many people as I can with the time I've got before I'm not here anymore.
Do you really feel like that?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Most
What?
people don't think about their legacy in that way.
I think about it because I feel it, you know. The thoughts are a product of my feelings, you know, and that's how I feel in my heart. That's why I write music the way I do. That's how I conduct myself. That's why, you know, they're my aims. They've always been my aims ever since a kid. I remember when I was a kid, I was fascinated with war. When I was a kid, fascinated with war, especially the Second World War. And I told my family for years, I'm going to be a soldier, man. Had it in my mind always to be a soldier, really fascinated with it. And I was fascinated with the side of war and the romantic side of freedom, of a good saving of people from an evil, right? Then obviously as I grew up and learned more, I realised that the war was the evil itself, you know what I mean? But it was that feeling, I don't know where it came from. My parents were very, you know, socially and politically aware growing up, you know, and being between England and Ireland and having a mixed heritage in that sense, you know, there was always a lot of history from both sides that I had to deal with personally, because being English in a small town in Ireland and then coming back and being Irish in London, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's just always been in me. You know, that's what keeps me going. If I didn't have that in me, I don't know what I'd be doing. I need to see more of a progression, you know. I think there was a lot learned in the last year, and I need to to get back in the mindset which I am, because after I took that period of time out to write the second album, I came back with the same hunger I had when I was 17, 18, before I signed, before any of that, when it was my mixtape days and I was out grafting, I was doing dub. Yeah, of course. I was doing dubstep raves, and I was doing acoustics, folk, open mic nights, and I just need to be back in front of people, you know. Like I was saying to you earlier on, being back in front of people again and connecting with people. You know, there's only so much connection you can do with 150 characters on Twitter. You know what I mean? I need to be in front of people and sit in a room and talk to people and play for people, so people get the same feeling that you get when you hear the album, and that we can connect and do this on a wide scale. And we do from Brixton's to Madison Square Gardens, and then from Madison Square Gardens to arenas in Brazil, playing this type of music and getting something positive out of my life and trying to have a positive effect on as many people's lives as possible through the music. You know, that's my success. That's my vision.